Jeffrey? No.
Hello there.
When it's time for your section, you can turn on your camera and everything. Just keep it off until it's time for
Gotcha.
your part.
Understood.
Okay, thank you.
We on time today?
Yep, we'll be starting right at 5.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the newly revamped council chambers at the Municipal Administration Center. I'd like to call this regular meeting of the Council of the Corporation of the Municipality of Kincardine to order at 5 o'clock on May 14th, 2025 in the council chambers. Roll call this evening, Deputy Mayor Clark.
Present.
Councillor Blackwell.
Present.
Councillor Kavanaugh.
Present.
Councillor Hinchberger. Councillor Prenger.
Present.
Councillor Steinhoff Gray. Councillor Stewart.
Present.
Councillor Williams.
Present.
And I'd like to acknowledge the staff that's present here and our visitors in the public gallery this evening. Deputy Mayor Clark, please.
We'd like to begin by acknowledging that we are meeting on the traditional lands and treaty territory of the Saugeen Ojibwe Nation, which includes the Chippewas of Nawash, unceded First Nation, and the Chippewas of Saugeen First Nation, whose ancestors were the first to inhabit, care for, and live on this land. We recognize and deeply appreciate the contributions that Indigenous peoples have made, both in caring for this land and shaping and strengthening this community, our province, and our country. As a public service organization, we are dedicated to learning and acknowledging Indigenous history and culture, and are committed to actions that move us towards a journey of truth, healing, and reconciliation with the Saugeen Ojibwe Nation, the Métis Nation of Ontario, and the historic Saugeen Métis.
Do any council members have any amendments, additions, or deletions to or from the agenda this evening? Councillor Prenger, please.
Thank you, through you, Chair. I'd like to request an addition to the agenda today. So I'd like to move that council approve the following addition to the agenda: 7.4A motions. A motion regarding Bill A, Protect Ontario by Unleashing Our Protect Ontario by Unleashing Our Economy Act 2025.
Is there a seconder for the motion? Councillor Kavanaugh. Any discussion? All in favor? And that's carried. Once again, I'd remind you to disclose any pecuniary interest in the general nature thereof either now or as the item arises during the agenda. Councillor Blackwell, please.
Thank you. Through you, I need to declare a pecuniary interest in the matter of 5.2A, the Princess Street petition, due to my husband's employment with Bruce Power and their deemed indirect pecuniary interest.
Councillor Stewart, please.
Thank you. And through you, Chair, I think it's pretty obvious I need to do a declaration on 6.1 Integrity Commission report. That's a complaint against myself. So I've sent it in to Jennifer already. Thank you.
Councillor Williams, please.
Thank you. I too will declare on 5.2A pecuniary interest due to my husband's employment at Bruce Power and my employer, the Nuclear Innovation Institute's potential indirect interest in the property.
Councillor Pranger, please.
Thank you. I too have to declare indirect pecuniary interest to 5.2A due to my employer, Nuclear Innovation Institute's indirect interest in the property.
All right. Number 4 on the agenda, adoption of minutes. We need a mover and seconder that the minutes of the council meetings held April 23rd, 2025 be adopted as printed. Moved by Councillors Deputy Mayor Clark and Councillor Blackwell. Any discussion? All in favor? Those are carried. This evening we have we need a motion that council move into Committee of Adjustment and upon completion return to council. Moved by Councillor Stewart and Kavanaugh. All in favor? That's carried. Okay. All right, I'd like to call to order the Committee of Adjustment meeting of the Council of the Corporation of the Municipality of Kincardine at 5:04 p.m. on May 14th, 2025 in the council chambers. Roll call remains the same. I'd like to remind you to declare any pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof, which already has been noted, but not of this item. Adoption of minutes. We need a mover and seconder that the minutes of the Committee of Adjustment meeting of March 12th, 2025 be adopted as printed. Moved by Councillors Williams and Deputy Mayor Clark. All in favor? And that's carried. This evening, we have a hearing for a minor variance, file number 2025-006, and this is a hearing under the Planning Act. So if anyone from the public is interested in this application or wishes to receive a notice of the decision, there is a list in the antechamber where you can sign, and there is a email address available through our planning department, which connects you with the County of Bruce to receive notice. So first we'll receive a report from planning staff, then committee members will have an opportunity to ask technical questions, but I ask them to reserve their comments in the application until we've heard from the public. Then we hear from the public either in support or in opposition to, who are here in person virtually or who have submitted correspondence. Members of the public are advised that the right to appeal the decision on this application is limited to specified persons and public bodies as defined in the Planning Act, or the owner or applicant of the land subject to the amendment who have provided oral or written comments to the committee on the application before the decision is made. And after we've heard from the public, the committee will discuss and consider a recommendation on this application. So I now declare the hearing open, and I would ask our planner, Karina, to present the application.
Thank you, through you, Chair. So I am presenting this evening on behalf of my colleague, Greg Wallace, who was unable to attend today. The application before you is for the property at 246 Sunset Drive. The landowner is looking to sever that property to have a severed part and a retained part. In order to facilitate that severance, they do require relief from the lot frontage requirements in the zoning bylaw. Specifically in this residential zone, the minimum lot frontage is 30 meters. The applicant is seeking relief for 27.7 meters, and that is due to the location. If you look at the site plan that was provided with the report, the severed portion would front both on White Pine Avenue and Sprucedale Drive. For the zoning bylaw, it considers the shorter lot line to be the lot frontage, and that is why the variance is required. We did receive comments from members of the public as well as agencies on this file. Those matters have been responded to and addressed or will be addressed through conditions on the related consent application. The consent application will be considered by the county at a later date. One other item I just wanted to note was with respect to the tests under the Planning Act. The applicant, in our opinion, has met and satisfied those tests, and we are recommending approval of the application.
Thank you for that report. So now we will hear from members of the public. Is the applicant interested in making a comment to this application? Okay. Anyone else here from the public who would like to speak in support of this application? Is anyone here from the public who has objections to the application? Any other written submissions that we haven't heard about?
No further submissions.
Thank you very much. All right, do any committee members have any technical questions regarding this application before we move on? All right, seeing none, I now declare the public meeting to be closed, the hearing to be closed. Yeah, I know we now we did. So,
Oh, sorry.
all right, so now we consider a recommendation on the application. So we need a mover and seconder that the Committee of Adjustment approve the minor variance from Bartley Murphy for the property described as 246 Sunset Drive to permit a reduced frontage on the proposed severed lot on Sprucedale Drive of plus minus 27.7 meters, moved by councillors Stewart and Williams. Any discussion? All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you for being here. And we need a mover and seconder that the Committee of Adjustment adjourns at 5:09. Moved by Deputy Mayor Clark and Councillor Kavanaugh. All in favor? And that's carried. All right, we're at 5.2. And we invite Bill Brown to the podium to present a position regarding the proposed development at 705 Princess Street.
It's green.
Oh.
Thank
Great.
you very much.
Welcome, Bill. Glad you're here.
Oh, thank you.
And the clerk's advised you the time is prescribed, so away you go. Yeah.
Yeah, correct. I spent most of the day trying to get it down short enough. So, okay, let's go. Honorable councillors and mayor, I'm Bill Brown, and I'm representing this group today to present the petition to council. I see it's attached to the agenda, so I don't have to hand it out. So thank you for this opportunity to speak about the proposal to build a 3-story supportive housing unit on the parking lot of the current Bruce Power Training Center at 705 Princess Street, the old W.E. Thompson Public School site. Tonight, council has received a petition that has been signed by 163 people asking for a community vote and ratepayer inclusion on the location for this proposed affordable housing development. Now, here's some background, which you probably know. Last September, an entity called Flourish was commissioned to identify preferred places in Kincardine to build affordable housing. Their 21-page report was accepted by council on October 23rd. Council proposed severing off a portion of the parking lot to build a 34-unit single-room shelter, plus potentially more, including possibly converting the entire school building itself into similar housing, according to the report. The first anyone heard about this was an article in the local media on October 24th. On November 13th, council voted to direct staff to sever and rezone the property. I attended that November 13 meeting and was quite surprised to see that only 4 people voted in favor, 1 against, and the other councillors, as again tonight, declared pecuniary interest. Flourish is effectively the sales arm of Indwell Charities, which is a religious group who feel they are doing God's work by getting municipalities to donate free land for projects and then getting money from various government ministries to build housing on underused space, which is, this location is certainly not. They create housing for, in Indwell's own words, people who have trouble accessing housing, and they don't mean that they need ramps installed. The housing they suggest is not affordable housing, it is supportive housing. You can do your own research into how well those projects are turning out. Ask the local police chief and local residents in those towns where something similar has been done. Council tried to deflect some concerns about this and said that the proposal for 705 Princess Street could be used for women transitioning from the Women's House Shelter or for low-income seniors. The blueprint, however, shows 34 units, far too small to be a long-term home for anyone, and include a 34-seat dining area downstairs to feed the residents with a commercial kitchen. It is not intended for people to live like in an apartment. It is transitional supportive housing. Now, many people signing this petition were completely unaware of these plans, while those who had heard about it said, "Where's the pen?" The most common response was that people were surprised council would consider this location at all. Succinctly put, as, what are they thinking? People questioned reducing the size of an essential parking lot and the fact that an institutional 3-story building does not fit with the character of the neighborhood and would overwhelm a family area with transitional tenants. As well, it is a narrow dead-end street, which will prove difficult for emergency vehicles to access, especially with the inevitable security interventions, which, by the way, would be paid for by the municipality for many years. We believe other locations with projects that actually could accommodate low-income seniors or affordable housing for families would be a much better fit for Kincardine. That parking lot, as it is right now, is probably the highest and best use of the land. When not in use by Bruce Power, residents and tourists fill it to every single downtown and Victoria Park event. Every Saturday night pipe band, every Monday market, every theater guild play, town fireworks, church and BIA events, not to mention the Easter egg hunt, Blues Fest, mass bands, and the Scottish Festival. The surrounding neighborhood cannot accommodate more vehicle parking for all these events. Why give away $1 million asset? Is council willing to lose these events? Ratepayers are concerned that their opinions are not being heard or even sought. Kincardine residents are concerned about the potential of changing our beautiful historic downtown area, possibly forever. Local residents are concerned about their property values, safety, and emergency access. We feel that the community engagement and transparency deserve to be higher on council's agenda, so we've come here to tell you so in person. We strongly urge you to consider public sentiment, gather actual feedback about changes to the official plan, and grant the petition for a community vote and public inclusion on the location for this type of proposed affordable housing development. Thank you for your time and attention. How much time did I use?
You have 28 seconds left if you want to add anything else. So.
I think we covered it. Thank you very much, sir.
Well, thank you very much for coming. We do appreciate the voice that you have lent to your neighborhood. And there is opportunity for council members to ask questions to clarify where we're not able to, through the delegation process, to act on any resolutions or anything tonight like that. But if there's any questions from council members, we can afford that opportunity. Councillor Stewart, please.
Thank you. Great presentation, and I fully agree with you that the community should have been informed prior to our vote, and probably I will be making a motion to maybe have it overturned, because this is brand new information. We talked about a lot of things during our discussion on this vote, but we did not give credit or an understanding to the community. And when I see a petition for 163 people, that speaks pretty volume to me. So I'll be your voice if I have to be your voice, but I think we need to take another look at this. We're even having some problems because the first step in this whole thing is to get a new lease. And it's been about 5 months and I haven't seen anything coming to council for approval yet. So there is some problems with this. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill.
Deputy Mayor, please.
First off, thank you so much for coming. I think it's important when the community engages with council. So thank you for coming to do that presentation. I think in many respects, what you say is certainly the thought process for a number of councillors, the importance of engaging with the public. And it's certainly from my perspective, it would be top of the list that we engage with the public, both in terms of consultations, as well as understanding what has been proposed. Your presentation this evening has been enlightening in terms of perhaps some of the narrative that's out there in relation to what the public has understood. But I think the important part is, just as you've done tonight, coming forward and publicly engaging with council. It's an effective way, one, to get us to understand and listen, and your presence here is bridging the gap, because sometimes we hear things online or read things that just doesn't perhaps have the accuracy. So thank you once again.
Yeah. Thank you. We read the same kind of things online, and accuracy is what we're striving for. Yes. Thank you.
Okay, thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so I just as we move into the Integrity Commissioner report, I'd like to confirm with Councillor Stewart, if I may. You did declare a conflict, but generally the conflict precludes you from participating in discussion, let alone the voting. So I'm wondering if you could clarify your understanding of that declaration, like when these three declared an interest, like they left the room during the discussion and all those parts. You are, of course, very welcome to stay during the discussion, but it's only during the vote itself that the person who is receiving this report is not allowed to vote. So could you explain your understanding of that declaration, please, Councillor Stewart?
Yes, I could. Thank you very much. Through you, what I understood through our Integrity Commissioner, that I am allowed to participate. I'm just not allowed to vote. And that's my understanding. So if I did it incorrectly, that's my understanding. So I will not be voting against or for myself.
Yep. So thank you. There is a preamble to begin with this. I will afford our Integrity Commissioner, Jeffrey Abrams, to comment immediately following, and then provide opportunity for Councillor Stewart to make any presentation following that, at which point Council will have opportunity to debate, ask questions, or other, just so we have kind of an idea of the format this evening. So Council is sitting in a disciplinary capacity for this portion of the meeting. Under the Municipal Act, Council's sole authority in this Code of Conduct complaint is to decide whether to adopt the recommendations made by the Integrity Commissioner. Council does not have the power to alter the findings of the report, only to consider the recommendations. So section 223.4 of the Act allows the Integrity Commissioner to recommend the following penalties if a contravention to the Code of Conduct is found. It can either be a reprimand, or it could be a suspension of the remuneration of the council or local board member for up to 90 days. Accordingly, council's discussion must be limited to the recommendations made by the Integrity Commissioner. The investigation has been completed and it's not council's role to revisit or reinvestigate the matter. Council must focus on the findings of the report and how they relate to the recommended penalty. While council may vary or reject the recommended penalty, any decision must be based on the Integrity Commissioner's finding. Finally, council cannot address the merits of the original decision regarding the monument. That issue was not part of the investigation, is not under consideration at this meeting. So having said that, we need a mover and seconder that council, that having been found to have breached the code of conduct, the remuneration of Councillor Stewart be suspended for a period of 1 week, which is equivalent to half of a pay period. Moved and seconded by Councillors Blackwell and Kavanagh. So we welcome this evening our Integrity Commissioner, Jeffrey Abrams from Integrity Principles, who conducted the investigation and submitted the report. Mr. Abrams, welcome. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you very much, Mayor. And I'll just confirm that Councillor Stewart is correct. He is permitted to speak to the matter. He cannot vote, but because he has a pecuniary interest, it was proper for him to declare an interest this evening. And thank you, Mayor, for that preamble. That saved me some speaking time. You're quite correct. The only thing I would add to it is that since council is in a disciplinary mode this evening, regardless of any individual members of council's previous relationship or views of Councillor Stewart, good, bad, or indifferent, you must set those aside. Your judgment is to be based upon how the recommendations relate to our findings and what you hear tonight as the matter is discussed, given that the investigation is now completed. You, like we, play an important role in the administration of justice insofar as municipal integrity is concerned. That sounds lofty, but I think it's true. But with that said, this isn't a litigation process. It's an administrative review, right size for municipalities. It's different from other proceedings, criminal, immigration, that sort of thing, or other similar processes, because this is an administrative process conducted in accordance with the Municipal Act. And so tonight you have a report that identifies behaviors that contravene council's high standard of ethical behavior. And the report makes a recommendation that we believe is in the public interest in response. We do believe that the report speaks for itself. As an aside, a version of the report had been circulated to its recipients, and based upon comments received from the clerk, we made some small amendments and reissued the report. We're of the view that the requested changes had no impact on the objective of the report, to share the complaint and findings in a way that's understandable and which supports our recommendation. Because they had no impact, we made the requested changes and reissued the report, which is the one you have before you this evening. In the report, we make two findings of breach, one with respect to Councillor Stewart's public statements respecting a previous council decision, and the other respecting Councillor Stewart's disclosure of confidential information. The report is about those findings and not about the underlying circumstances, which have been both controversial and difficult for the town, staff, and council. Tonight is not about a revisiting of council's decision. Taking all of this into account, we've recommended a sanction of 1 week's loss of remuneration. We see as the primary purpose of the Integrity Commissioner Code of Conduct regime established by the Municipal Act to demonstrate to you and your constituents that you take your ethical obligations seriously, that there's a fair and appropriate mechanism to deal with complaints, and that because of that, council as a whole earns the respect, trust, and engagement of the people it serves and is therefore able to deal with its regular business effectively. Mr. Mayor, thank you. Thank you, council. I'm available to answer any questions about your disciplinary role and on how our findings relate to our recommendations. Those are my remarks.
Are there any questions from council regarding our rule this evening? Councillor Stewart, please.
Thank you. Through you, I believe I get 5 minutes. Yes, we're not going to talk about what went on prior. We're going to talk about exactly what Mr. Abraham and I have been talking about for the last 8 months, back and forth. Lots of allegations came, most of them were dismissed, but we're down to really the breach. And I want to explain to the public, and I also want to explain to the council, this breach was where Mr. Abraham and I have disagreed. And we finally came to the point that we're not going to agree, so we were going to bring it to council. Anyways, what actually happened, just to give you the facts, and that's why I'm here, just to give you the facts. We received a letter, all of us received a letter from a certain party about the monument. And that was done on, I believe, September 23rd. Now, interesting that day, we're also in the council chamber at a strategic initiative meeting, and nobody really talked about it, including the mayor or the CEO. Now, this particular letter in question was very unusual. For my 8 years of being a counselor, I never received a letter from a lawyer that had my personal name on it. And that's a little bit tricky. So, of course, because it wasn't under personal or confidential at the time, I sent it over to my lawyer and said, could you please review this and see what kind of issue I could be facing now and in the future? He took a look at it and said, Bill, if this thing goes to litigation, I can't represent to you, but you better get some good lawyers. So that was his opinion. That was done on Monday night. Then what happened is on Tuesday, I went ahead and released that letter to 2 other people that turned out to be buddies of mine, turned out to be litigation lawyers down in Toronto. And I said, what do you think of this? And they said, we'd be happy to represent you if it goes to litigation. So at this present time, we don't know where it sits right now. But all of a sudden, on the 26th of September, I brought the letter up and I sort of, right at the beginning, if you go and record, I said, we have a letter here. How do you want to handle it? And the mayor said, we'll handle it in close. So right away, all of a sudden I went, wow, this has a little more than I thought. So when we went into close, the first person we met was our lawyer. Now, from my understanding of my lawyers, is why my name was personally on that letter is that they can actually, if they decide to go to litigation, and not saying they have, they can actually litigate the municipality plus each one of us individually. And that really sort of set me up and went, great. So they can actually do this for the next 3 or 4 years. It could be a serious thing, even if we're out of council, they can still litigate us individually. So after we met with the lawyer, or during close, I fully confessed that I had sent the letter off to protect myself and my interest. You know, we do have a principle here, and I do understand the principle. It's a code of conduct that we make ourselves and approve. But I think there's a higher power, and that's called the laws of Canada, Ontario. And I wanted to protect myself, and I'm still protecting myself from this. So this is the problem, and it's not a problem. Mr. Abraham and I have went through this, had very many discussions, written discussions, verbal discussions, but we couldn't come to an agreement on this. And he felt that I allegedly broke the code of conduct, and I felt really that I had my personal interest and I had to protect myself and my family. And I decided that I needed to go and talk to lawyers. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Stewart. Any questions, comments from council members? Okay. We have a motion before us at that point then. Oh, Deputy Mayor?
I certainly don't want to revisit the facts because I don't think that's our role this evening. I've listened to what Councillor Stewart has said concerning his perspective of the facts and I suppose the findings. I'd be interested if Councillor Stewart could comment on his view concerning the recommendation.
Thank you. And through you, that's very difficult because I really have to, of course, what am I going to say? It's fair, it's not fair. I mean, that's really up to my fellow counselors. And, I trust you to leave it in your hands. And, I know this was a very difficult time for council, but I do believe that I'm just going to let people around the table have a say and vote, and I will accept whatever you agree to. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor, please.
When I read the report, I think one thing that comes out, I can certainly say, Councillor Stewart, through you, Mayor, that at any point when we're in a disciplinary role, it's awkward, it's uncomfortable. This isn't what we come to council for, in any shape or form, and it's unfortunate that we are here doing this. What I read when I read the report, Councillor Stewart, was I saw some, certainly from the way the report was written, some contrition from you when you spoke with our integrity commissioner. And I think that goes to your benefit when you seem to have accepted that perhaps you acted a little bit bullheaded, I think is the terminology that was used. And I note that what you say tonight in council about this perhaps doesn't take that same contrite view, and there may be a reason for that. But when I read the report, I take the position that you were contrite, that you accepted that there was some perhaps wrongdoing, or at least you would have acted differently in retrospect. You explained yourself this evening in council. And from, I guess, my perspective, there was absolutely a desire to put this behind us. I have no doubt, Councillor Stewart, this is no more comfortable for you than it is for any of us. So from my perspective, not only is this challenging, but I hope that we move forward in a manner where we're not having to revisit any of these issues with any councillor. I think I would be content to simply receive this evening based on some degree of contrition. There's no pleasure at all in having to deal with this or reading through this. It is certainly a chapter. I think you're right in saying that this was a very difficult chapter for many of us for a variety of reasons. And I'd give you the opportunity this evening, Councillor Stewart, just to comment on what seemed to be contrition in the report, and whether on reflection, perhaps you would accept that maybe you would do things differently if you had that opportunity.
Councillor Stewart, you can respond if you choose.
I don't know if, I wonder if I could ask the integrity commissioner to comment on that, because it's not really fair for me to question at this late date. The report is, Jeff Abram has done it. So I'm thinking that I just have to leave it the way it is. I'm sorry.
Councillor Kavanaugh, please.
Thank you very much. And through the chair, this situation is most unfortunate, particularly for a voting public, because I feel they lose out twice in this circumstance. Recognizing we're sitting as a judicial body and reading the report, paragraph 3 is the one that stands out to me, where it says, the councillor shared confidential information intended for closed session meeting without authority to do so, and for the sole purpose of undermining council's decision to decommission the Secord monument. That losing twice I refer to is both the cost of the integrity commissioner, which we know is a significant cost and has costed in previous terms significant amounts of money, but also the undermining and loss of the public's trust and confidence. As members of council, we are entrusted with large amounts of private and information that's significant and can have a huge impact on our community. And we're trusted to keep that to ourselves and to act in our best judgment. With what the integrity commissioner's report says, it suggests that we should follow his recommendations and follow this through to restore public trust and confidence in this council.
So my comments are to express my appreciation to our Integrity Commissioner for the work that he's done, the extensive investigation report that we've received. We are not privy to the investigation itself. We are only privy to the report. That's all we have no idea what's gone on, but the recommendations are based on Mr. Abrams' understanding of the whole situation as best described to him by any of the participants in this complaint and recommendation report. So I personally have mulled over a whole range of responses by council, but I choose to support the recommendation from Mr. Abrams because he is most capable and able to present those. So if it is guidance, I will be supporting the recommendation, and that's as usual, each councillor makes that decision. So Councillor Blackwell, please.
Thank you. Through you, I'll just echo the comments that this is incredibly uncomfortable, I think, for all of us. I think we have grown as a team since this incident, but I will give my colleague credit for acknowledging within the report and acknowledging that there were breaches made and that there was actions taken that he would potentially not do or will not do going forward. I think that does take humility to recognize. I think everyone makes mistakes. I think this one was one that potentially does undermine our ability to work together, and I find that challenging. I don't really have a lot to say other than I find this to be a really difficult process, but I thank you for coming and for committing to being present within it.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor that is moved by Councillors Blackwell and Kavanaugh, I believe. That having been found to have breached the code of conduct, the remuneration of Councillor Stewart be suspended for a period of 1 week, which is equivalent to 1/2 a pay period. All in favor of the motion? Anyone opposed? So it's defeated. Okay. All right. All right. So there we go. It is not good policy or procedure to leave this dangling out there with no resolution of any sort. Is there another motion like to be presented to council? Councillor Prenger?
I would move that we receive the report and well, basically that's it, that we receive the report as written and thank them for their time. I don't know how to word it properly, sorry.
No, that's it, that we receive the report for information. Seconded by Councillor Williams. Further discussion? Councillor Williams, please.
Thank you, through you. I guess I'm in a bit of a unique position. I wasn't at the council table during the incidents that are under kind of discussion. And so my decision to want to receive rather than the recommendation made by the Integrity Commissioner was based on the content that I read, but also based on Councillor Stewart's remarks and recognition that, recognition of actions taken. So I suppose that, I'm in a bit of a different situation where I'm just reading content and kind of in a discussion where it's a lot more perhaps muted and calm.
Further, Councillor Prenger, please.
Thank you, through you, Chair. I think I struggled with how to sort of maybe propose an amendment to the last motion. I didn't think it was unreasonable, to be honest, but given some of the comments by Councillor Stewart, as noted by other councillors, that perhaps he would have done things differently or that he has remorse about some of the actions he took, despite the fact that he said he'd leave the report where it is and not directly respond to our deputy mayor's question. My interpretation of that response was he's thinking specifically about going to his lawyer, and he feels like he probably still would go to his lawyer. I feel like he has expressed remorse about the way he handled interacting with the public on the matter, and maybe didn't realize my interpretation was that's what Deputy Mayor was asking about, and he didn't understand that's what he was being asked to respond to. So I took his response to the Deputy Mayor to be perhaps different than some of the other people around the table, and I'm okay with receiving this report and taking into consideration Councillor Stewart's position on it, and hopefully moving forward he'll prove us right that he's going to try and do better than what he did in this instance.
Deputy Mayor, please.
I came to this evening really uncertain, having read in great detail and a couple of times the commissioner's report, really about what my position would be. I don't think that anybody leaves this table winning tonight. I'm very clear on my view that the conduct and the findings are the findings, but equally, I took into consideration the contrition that seemed to be exhibited through the report. And whilst the actions certainly aren't condoned, there is the viewpoint from my perspective to put this behind us and move forward. There's no doubt that, as we've all stated, it was a very dark and difficult set of times. The hope is that we move forward in a more positive manner. The recommendation for me by the Integrity Commissioner was one that wasn't unreasonable, and I don't come to my decision lightly tonight. I'm thankful that Councillor Stewart has come tonight, that he was prepared to address this. I give him credit for that. And whilst Councillor Stewart took the opportunity to put his position, his perspective, having read the report, being vividly aware of how things played out, I really only hope that from here, each one of us, not just Councillor Stewart, takes something away and are aware of our actions and the impact our actions have on those sitting around this table and the community at large. I'm okay with the decision of simply receiving this report tonight. The findings remain the findings, but the hope is that we close this chapter.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor that we receive the report. All in favor of the motion? Anyone opposed? And that motion is carried. Okay, Councillor Stewart, welcome back to the table. All right, we have a motion 6.2 enhanced service agreement update. And Jolene has some information relevant to this conversation. CAO, please.
Through you, Mayor, to Council. So this report was brought out of the consent agenda for some discussion, and where I understand Council left it is to see what the Smart Board was going to consider in terms of the options. What they have decided to do is provide 2 agreements for review to their board. They're going to undertake a legal review and expect to present those to their board in June.
So it would be my recommendation that we thank Smart Board for doing the work and we wait till we receive their report after their board meeting in June. When we get that information, then we begin the task of identifying which of the options best suits the municipality's goals and intentions of what we included in the budget. So, Councillor Stewart, please.
Through you, do we have to defer this or can we just sort of take direction, away we go?
I expect we just defer, Councillor Stewart, till we get the report back from the Smart Board, and they meet in June. We might not get this till July once staff has an opportunity to review and make some sort of a recommendation about what it means to our municipality. So.
Yeah, just to follow, it was more of a procedural question. Because I think we do have to defer it, and it's just procedural. I had no comments other than that.
Councillor Blackwell, please.
Thank you. Through you, my questions were just related to timing. Like when this was passed as part of budget, it was for a 1-year trial. If we're not potentially even going to hear about it till July, unlikely by the time we get everything up and running and organized, it wouldn't be till September. Is the 1-year period from that period, would council decide that at that period, or is it till the end of the budget cycle in December? Do we have a sense of that?
Good question.
Through you, it's budgeted in this year, but when the start of that, I'm not sure that would matter too much in terms of the funding. It'll still remain if it started within this year.
So we need, I would move that we defer this until we receive the report back from the Smart Board. Like they don't know when that's going to be. Like, hopefully, and they meet in June. We can't tell them when they're going to do it. So it's till we receive the reports from the Smart Board. Seconder for that motion, Councillor Stewart. All in favor of that? And that's carried. So we have an amending development agreement, Bradstones Development, Inc. We need a mover and seconder that the Council of the Municipality of Kincardine pass a bylaw to enter into an amending agreement with Bradstones Development, and further that the mayor and clerk be authorized to execute any documents and agreements on behalf of the municipality. Moved by Councillors Stewart and Williams. Manager McNabb, any comment? Any questions from council for this? All in favor? That's carried. Amendment to the procurement policy. We need a mover and seconder that council adopt the amendments included in the attached updated procurement policy, Finance 08, and that council repeal the former purchasing and procurement policy, GG 2.17. Moved by councillors Stewart and Kavanaugh. Discussion? Councillor Stewart, please.
Just wanted to, through you, Chair, just wanted to say to our Roxanne, you did a great job. Thank you very much. And that's a hard one to fill in the blanks and everything, but you did a good job, so I can support this. Thank you.
All in favor of the motion? And that's carried. We have some notices of motion provided last meeting. Moved by Councillor Blackwell, seconded by Councillor Prenger. Whereas the County of Bruce has established a waste management subcommittee which has been tasked with coordinating the exploration and possible introduction of a local source separated organics program. And whereas source separated organic programs are a proven and effective method of diverting waste from landfills, now therefore be it resolved that the municipality of Kincardine formally endorse the leadership role undertaken by the County of Bruce to determine the feasibility of a local source separated organics program. And further, the council requests the mayor to consider including funding in the 2026 budget to support the advancement of this initiative within the municipality of Kincardine if required. Discussion, Councillor Blackwell.
Thank you. It's shorter than my typical motion, so hopefully that was noted. I appreciate the County of Bruce taking a lead on this. I think during the period of time where we're also dealing with changes to the blue box as mandated by the province, there may be opportunity for us to explore potential new programs. And I think doing it as a countywide initiative is much better than trying to do it individually on the basis of the complicated nature of establishing a compost or organics depot. So I'd just like us to continue to support the role that the county has taken. And if they do come to us prior to the 2026 budget to contribute financially to this program, it would be something that I would like to see us help them move it along.
Further comments? Councillor Stewart, please.
Thank you. I'm not sitting on the county council, which our mayor is. Through you, Mayor, do you see a date for this when it'll come back to county? Okay, so it's wide open. Thank you.
We have staff members, our director and manager of environmental services sit on this subcommittee, so they will keep us updated to progress. All in favor of the motion? And that is carried. Motion to address the expansion of strong mayor powers, moved by Rory Kavanagh and seconded by Stelina Williams, Councillor Williams. Whereas the Ontario government has granted strong mayor powers to 170 additional municipalities under this legislation with an intent to accelerate provincial priorities, streamline processes, and increase accountability. And whereas the municipality of Kincardine recognizes the opportunity to address these outcomes without exercising strong mayor powers, and whereas strong mayor powers include anti-democratic principles that will result in the centralization of power, erosion of local democracy and democratic participation, reduced accountability, and the potential for the abuse of power as expressed by many other municipalities, as well as political and administrative municipal associations in Ontario. And whereas the expansion of strong mayor powers undermines the collaborative nature of municipal governance and the decision-making processes and diminishes the role of elected municipal councillors in representing the diverse interests of the ratepayers and broader community, if mayors are given the ability to bypass council decisions without adequate consultation or oversight, now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of Kincardine hereby opposes strong mayor powers, and that the council formally expresses its opposition to the Ontario government's decision to expand strong mayor powers in favor of preserving local democracy, transparency, and accountability, and that the council encourages advocacy for democratic principles and for municipal governance systems that prioritize collaboration, inclusivity, and democratic engagement, and that the council formally requests that the Ontario government rescind these strong mayor powers from the municipality of Kincardine, and that council adopt the principles of accelerating provincial priorities, streamline processes, and increase accountability, recognizing strong mayor powers are not needed in order to address these goals. And further be resolved that a copy of this motion be forwarded to the province, the other 170 municipalities granted strong mayor powers, and the Association of Municipalities of Ontario.
I'm so sorry.
Chap.
That's extra words. I took the extra words.
Councillor Kavanagh.
Thank you very much. And through the chair, acknowledging first and foremost that strong mayor powers were not something that anyone asked for at this table, and it is not meant as a attack or any kind of criticism of your worship himself. I have a lot of problems with the idea of the government on high giving one person the absolute authority to push things through. And even if it's not particularly this council or this particular mayor, I see a lot of danger in future because there's no predicting who sits in what position. In another year and a half, it might not be any of us in these seats. And I feel that the best check for one person, because absolute power will corrupt absolutely, is to have a group of people and working together to come to a consensus and represent multiple viewpoints. Now, I am also willing to acknowledge that perhaps, and we'll get to this in my next motion, that 9 is too many viewpoints to try and bring into one thing. And the provincial government is upset at the pace that which it takes our council of 9 to make a decision. And so the idea or their solution proposed is we'll give one person one vote and we'll move forward. And the check is a supermajority opposition. I don't like that. I like the democratic idea of we were elected to represent our constituents. We come to the table and we put that forward. And I think that in supporting this and telling the province, we can't make them take them back, but we can say that we want to take steps to get there on our own, to be more efficient and more productive on our own without having this mandated and undemocratic power coming forward. Thank you.
So just to clarify, one person certainly does not have all the power. They're like even with the power of the council to push back on any mayor's power to veto or potentially undermine council decisions. It's though you have hit on many key points, there might be a little bit of hyperbole in some of the points there, just to be aware of that. So it is presented. Any further comments regarding the motion? Councillor Blackwell, please.
Thank you. Through you, the justification that the province has provided to expand these powers was related specifically to advancing housing. And when larger municipalities were given these kind of power, it also came with funding related to it, which we are not receiving. So, and I also haven't seen any proof offered by the province or by the municipalities that received this, that it actually has resulted in expanded or fast-track development. So I have some concerns with the justification for why it's coming in. I have some concerns about the way it's been implemented. Overall, I have some concerns with the speed of changes that this province has been making within our little toolbox here since even we've been elected. It's kind of like standing on shifting ground. So I certainly think that as a community, it's challenging to have these happen halfway through a term, to change our role this significantly, when that's not necessarily what was presented to the electorate when our election happened. So I am going to support this motion. I think there are some concerns. I know there's some checks and balances, as you said, built into it. I don't think they're quite adequate. So, and I am very concerned that we're being asked to fast track development without any additional funding or support from the province. That's quite a feat that we're going to have to try and figure out.
Councillor Stewart, please.
Thank you. And through you, Chair, I agree with my fellow councillors. This is basically the provincial government saying, we can't do it. We're going to hand it over to the municipality and then blame you guys later. You know, their numbers are so, I mean, their 1.5 is not even close. Where, you know, that's another discussion. And now just recently, if everyone's been reading the newspaper, oh, they're going to talk about development fees and talk about these special areas and this and that. I mean, basically, we might not even need a chief building officer. They'll just say, build here. Anyways, the one question I have for you, Mayor, first of all, the powers were granted to you through the provincial government on May 1st. And then we saw a note from you saying that you delegated the powers back to the CAO, which is interesting. So you decided to delegate those powers back, but you didn't delegate the powers that you had back to us. I think this council needs some sort of explanation from you. Why do you want to retain these powers? Do you feel comfortable enough to tell us?
I do. I think it's in a different format that it doesn't, like, it's the motion that's here is our opposition to this. If you want me to present information like that, I would be glad to, but it will be in a report that comes to council regarding the what has been chosen to be done at this point, why that's happened. Okay. I
fully understand.
No
Thank you.
problem with doing that at all. Further comments about our motion here, Deputy Mayor, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Through you, perhaps echoing some of the comments. While I predicate my remarks, Mayor, that I think we are all appreciative that you are sitting in that seat and there isn't the real concern about the strong mayor powers in terms of your use, but there is the underlying concern about speed of change. There was a fundamental shift effectively with the model of local government when the Strong Mayor Housing Act of 2022 came in, and prior to that, there were no strong mayors. So just even looking at that position, it was something that has pretty rapidly come across this jurisdiction. And from my perspective, the mayor is quite correct that no one person has sort of all of this overwhelming power, but we lose the majority, and that's something that eats at the heart of democracy. And once again, this is none of us sort of signed up for this. This is what has been thrust on us, and the underlying reason of that is housing, and it's come down from the provincial government. So it's I don't have any questions about how it's been dealt with to this point, because I think when it's been thrust upon us, the mayor has been left in position of having to deal with it and shoulder it. But in terms of supporting this motion, I absolutely can support the motion and openly express the concerns that I think a number of us, both in the community and those that sit around this table, have in general about the speed of change, the fact that there was so little notification, and we have now been left in a position of having to not only, well, particularly the mayor has been left in a position of having to field a number of questions. And we're all still learning, to be quite honest, about the extent of these powers and what the greater impact is. So I'm happy to support the motion this evening and voice those concerns.
Councillor Williams, please.
Thank you, through you. And I know that the motion was quite lengthy, so it certainly speaks for itself and a lot of the reasons why I seconded it. And I appreciate that since it's been announced, we've all been scrambling to understand it, to understand its application, to understand how it will work in action, understand how it will be used, and we'll certainly keep doing that. And we may not fully understand the breadth or depth of the impact until we see it in action. But one of the reasons why it was important to me to bring this motion forward is because I do believe that as a council, we can work well together to get more houses built faster, to streamline processes and increase accountability. And so I felt like the strong mayor powers really undermines the role that all of us bring to this table. And what we all want to do here is really make a difference. And, one counselor equals one vote. It's like all counselors are created equal, but some are created more equal than others, I guess. Lots of Animal Farm references tonight. And so, again, for me, it was more, I believe that collectively we can make a difference and achieve the objectives that the intent of this proposal, or that these powers want to achieve, and that we can do this collectively. And so to me, this is a signal as a municipality that we could send to our ratepayers and our community and our constituents and to the province to say, we agree that action needs to be taken and we want to do this together. And that's why I wanted to bring this motion forward tonight.
Anyone want me to read the motion again? All in favor? That's carried. Motion to improve the composition and governance of council, moved by Councillor Kavanaugh, seconded by Councillor Williams. Whereas Section 217 of the Municipal Act authorizes a local municipality to change the composition of its council, whereas this reduction in council size improves government efficiency, maintains the existing ward system for broader representation, and provides the greater fiscal responsibility of the taxpayers. And whereas the municipality of Kincardine seeks to establish a council structure that best serves the specific needs of our community while maintaining local decision-making authority, now therefore be it resolved that the council of the municipality of Kincardine directs staff to make all necessary and required changes such that the 2026 elected council of the municipality of Kincardine will be made up of 5 members consisting of a mayor to be elected at large, 2 councillors to be elected for Ward 1, 1 councillor to be elected for Ward 2, 1 councillor to be elected for Ward 3. Councillor Kavanaugh, please.
Thank you very much. And through the chair, this motion comes about in part, one in part in response to the strong mayors, where going down to 5, a council of 5 aligns the supermajority required to keep the strong mayor in check, along with the becoming the simple majority, where 5 votes, 3 is the majority in both cases. The other part of it that this is huge is recognizing that our municipality, the Council of 9 and the way it came about and the history behind that, and the amalgamation and the hurt feelings that came from bringing together those 3 forming municipalities was, it still exists, and there's still those feelings in the community. And when I was at the Ontario's Small Urban Municipalities Conference, it came to my surprise that I was one of 3 people in the entire conference that was sitting from a council of 9. That was pretty much unheard of. I met with councillors that were driving down from Ottawa that couldn't take the same car. They had to take 2 vehicles because they were a council of 5, and they didn't want to have 3 people in the same vehicle for a meeting on the way down. It also represents a significant savings opportunity for the municipality and our taxpayers. Each councillor, setting aside integrity commissioner costs or extra costs, runs about $40,000, so that increases at about 2.5% every year. So over a 4-year council term, shedding 4 councillors would save $640,000 roughly to the municipal taxpayers. We also gain the clarity of a more unified vision amongst councillors. Right now, we have 9 people, and as great as it is pushing in 9 different directions and championing 9 different causes, we also run into the problem where you can't move a ship in 9 different directions. And as much as everyone's trying to be aligned, everyone has their own individual goals. I would rather give that power back to the electorate and say, pick the people that you want their vision to represent you, and let those people move as efficiently and as effectively at the council table. It's in essence my way of proposing a solution to what the province sees as a similar problem of not enough progress. I think we can get there on our own without the need of strong mayor, and I think that can be achieved by a reduced council size. If I can speak briefly to the reason to retain the wards, if you remember back, we brought a motion forward for a boundary review that was turned down, or a consultant review that was turned down by this council. Well, Aaron Eldersley did complete theirs, and they found overwhelmingly that 70% of the residents found in favor of the ward system, and that they liked having an individual that they felt represented them at the big picture table. So in seeking for these efficiencies and seeking to also keep other powers that be in check in the future and going forward, I think it's reasonable to go forward with this proposal to retain the wards, so the wards stay, retain a mayor that's elected at large, and in the next term, move towards being a more efficient and taxpayer responsible council. Thank you.
Comments? Councillor Stewart, please.
Thank you. And through you, I agree with my fellow councillor. I only have 2 comments and concerns. Going down to 5 means that us 5 will have to be doing double, triple, and quadruple for committees. And, we're supposed to be quite inclusive. It's a little different for a gentleman like me who's retired that has all the hours of the day to work upon. It's going to be tough for people that have to work, and there will be quite a commitment when you have to sit on all these committees and everything. And the other question I would say to my fellow councillors, we have the right now, we can make a vote and make this official, I believe. Is that correct? Or do we want to do a pause and to ask the public if they feel comfortable with this too? I have no problems with moving forward with a 5 council. I think it's very effective and probably overdue. But I'd like to know whether the public feels the same way, or are we just going to make that decision tonight? And I'm prepared to do either way. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor, please.
Thank you, Mayor, through you. I have to say, I feel pretty uncomfortable about the motion as it is, particularly in light of the strong mayor powers. You are really reducing democracy at that stage, because if this has been brought about with the intention that it would eradicate strong mayor powers. That doesn't seem to be very clear. So if you now have 5 and it only requires a third vote to get things through, I think you are completely taking away democracy and accountability. So one, I wouldn't be prepared to do this without extensive public consultation. And two, in light of the strong mayor powers, I'm not prepared to push something like this through when we don't even know the ramifications at the moment of strong mayor powers, but probably puts us, like it to me, it's counterintuitive to our last argument about being anti-democratic to now make it smaller and have strong mayor powers. We're not helping the situation. We're impacting it and making it far worse. I don't think we can argue on both sides that we want a more democratic process and have a much smaller council.
Just to say those numbers out loud, strong mayor in a council of 5 needs the mayor and 1 other person to be able to pass any bylaw or anything. So that's it. It increases the power of the strong mayor if you go to 5, because you need a third of the council, a third of the total council, which is, if you got 2 votes out of 5, that's more than a third. Councillor Williams, please.
Thank you. Through you. Perhaps this is a question for clarity, and it might be to the CAO because I don't know if you received an answer. We had asked about, we had understood that should a municipality have 6 or fewer councillors, which includes the head of council, then strong mayor powers would not apply. Have we received confirmation that that is in fact true?
Through the mayor to the councillor, no, we've had no response from the ministry with respect to that. And when asking the question initially, we weren't sure how the regulation was going to be drafted. It wasn't visible. As it exists right now, it's just the name of the municipality. There's nothing in the regulation that speaks to the number. While that was in the preamble in the press release, there's nothing within law that speaks to that being in effect. Other municipalities that I have spoken to have asked the same question and have not received any clarifying answer either, in that their description of what they received back from the ministry was they were unsure.
Councillor Blackwell, please.
Thank you. Through you, I think, for me, there's been a lot of changes to how we operate, to what our responsibilities are, and kind of throwing this on top feels like a lot. One of my questions would be, or comments would be, is I think, yes, there was a comment made that in Erin Eldersley, people really like the ward system. I've heard various comments about that. And I think there needs to be some more strategic thinking around, does the ward system in isolation serve our community best? Does a mixture serve our community best? Or does entirely at large serve our community best? And I think that that requires the public to be engaged and to participate in it. And I think that, like, having our council is a very significant step that I think to vote on it tonight feels a little bit alarming, to be honest, without having any kind of feedback from community members about what their perspective would be. I don't know if there's ways to add things to when you do an election to ask or anything like that, but I think there needs to be something said with the public and some kind of consultation if this is something that there's interest in moving forward with. I'm not interested, but I can understand why some may be.
Councillor Pranger, please.
Thank you, through you, Chair. I'm fully for efficiency and, improving what we spend our money on and how we spend our money and saving money. That being said, it seems like we could do that with this proposal. I am also very concerned about a few things. A couple have already been mentioned. One, individuals like myself who have full-time employment outside of this position, like I'm already on several committees, I couldn't take on more. And if I was one of those counselors who was on a 5-counselor council, I wouldn't be able to take on the extra. I would literally preclude so many people from even running. I think they would choose not to, if they knew what they were getting into. um, and I fully concur with the statements and comments made by our deputy mayor clerk about it actually eroding democracy and not kind of going against what we just voted on previously, and the statements made by Councillor Blackwell. I could not vote in favor of this without having further investigation and public consultation.
Councillor Stewart, please.
Thank you, and through you, Chair. I believe that Councillor Kavanaugh did the motion, or Councillor Williams was the second.
Kavanaugh and Williams.
Okay. Good news is that we have, and I believe our clerk will say up to January 1st to make a decision on this. Is that correct? So I really like the idea. I mean, this is a real interesting thing. I think we need to present this to the public and at least get their feedback. We have over 6 months to do that, and we still can bring this forward to do a vote. So if my two councillors would modify or amend, I'd appreciate it, but it's really up to you whether you want to go directly to a vote or not. But I think we need to have at least some public input. Thank you.
Is this the sort of opportunity where we defer to the next meeting to afford some time for staff consideration? You know, this is not a minor task either. This is not in the budget as far as consultants go or anything like that. So I would, you know, it's your opportunity, but like to defer so at least staff could afford some guidance regarding, you know, what does this mean in the big picture? So if Councillors Kavanaugh or Williams would like to comment on opportunity, and perhaps before you do, if we're talking deferment, deferral, what sort of time frame would be opportune for the staff to consider some of the implications of a study like this? Like, is it, if you're thinking deferral, is it 2 weeks? Is it a month? What sort of time frame would you recommend, CAO, please?
So council has been presented with a report from the clerk earlier this year, or late last year, earlier this year, with respect to the process. So I think council's fully aware of what is involved in terms of process, as well as recommendations about where you may wish to engage external support in order to really ensure that you're doing the best that you can to engage the public and get that feedback and prevent the potential for appeal or quashing of a bylaw. So I think council has information with respect to that. Our next council meeting agenda is already fairly packed, and I'm not sure that we would have the opportunity to write a brand new report prior to that. But in June, I expect we probably could, if the request is to provide further information with respect to a recommendation specific to how you would undertake public consultation related to this very specific action.
Okay. Councillor Kavanaugh?
Thank you very much. Reading the room and through the chair, we're happy to motion to withdraw this at this time. If there's more work to be done, there's more work to be done, but it's apparent that we're not at a point where it can come forward or go to staff with any kind of direction. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Withdrawn. Not deferred, withdrawn.
That's not even going to do that.
No. Okay, notice of motions. Are there any at this meeting that councillors would like to present? All right, we have some bylaws. Yours comes later. It's after this. Yeah. Rates and fees amendment bylaw. We need a mover and seconder that the 2025 rates and fee amendment bylaw be deemed to be read a first, second, third time, finally passed and numbered as bylaw 2025-066. Moved by councillors Blackwell and Stewart. Any discussion? All in favor? That's carried. We need a mover and seconder that the following bylaws are hereby read a first, second, and third time, finally passed this 14th of May, 2025. The Bradstones amending agreement bylaw 2025-067 and the procurement policy bylaw 2025-068. Moved by councillors Kavanagh and Prenger. And need discussion? All in favor? Those are carried. All right, we have a motion to follow up on that was amended our agenda. Councillor Prenger.
You made all the changes, so she's made changes.
You've made changes since this, okay.
Sorry, I thought the mayor was going to read it, so just give me 1 second to pull it up. This is probably worse than Beth's normal, so I'm sorry in advance. There we go. Okay. I am starting to lose my voice, so I will do my best. Whereas the Ontario government has fast-tracked Bill 5, Protect Ontario by Unleashing Our Economy Act 2025, known as Bill 5, such that it was referred to the Standing Committee on the Interior on May 6, 2025, after being first read on April 17, 2025. And whereas the written submission deadline for participation on Bill 5 is May 26, 2025 at 6 p.m. ET, and whereas Bill 5 will enact the Special Economic Zones Act 2025, and repeal the Endangered Species Act 2007 and replace it by enacting the Species Conservation Act 2025, and amend various acts including the Ontario Heritage Act, the Mining Act, the Ontario Energy Board Act 1998, and the Electricity Act 1998, and to revoke various regulations in relation to development and procurement. Whereas Bill 5 will allow the Lieutenant Governor and Council to create zones anywhere in Ontario where municipal and provincial laws will not apply and where projects or proponents can be exempted from requirements under provisions of an act or a regulation, including environmental and heritage laws. And whereas the provisions of Bill 5 as written include anti-democratic principles and risks undermining civil liberties, Indigenous rights, the environment, and local government oversight. And whereas the municipality of Kincardine believes that the provincial priorities of housing, resource development, and economic development can be achieved without subverting existing laws, undermining municipal authority, threatening the environment, restricting industry growth, or undermining informed consent within Indigenous communities. Now therefore it be resolved, that the Council of the Municipality of Kincardine hereby opposes Bill 5, and that the Council formally expresses its opposition to Bill 5 in favor of preserving democracy, transparency, accountability, the environment, civil liberties, and Indigenous rights, and that Council encourage the province to prioritize democratic principles and government systems that support responsible development, environmental preservation, and acknowledge our responsibility to future generations, and that Council formally requests that the Ontario government reject Bill 5, and that a copy of this motion be forwarded to the Honourable Doug Ford, Premier of Ontario, the Honourable Stephen Lecce, Minister of Energy and Mines, MPP Lisa Thompson, all Ontario municipalities, the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, and the Standing Committee on the Interior.
So that motion is moved by Councillor Prenger. Is there a seconder for that motion? Councillor Blackwell, discussion, Councillor?
Good.
Thank you. I know that kind of describes it all. Except now I gotta go back to what I had open before. Sorry about this. The key things is that it's being pushed through very quickly. It's restricted people finding out about it and having the opportunity to comment. The bill itself, commenting, like it said, it ends on May 26th. That is through a different format than comments can be made to each act individually that's being impacted by this bill. Those acts can be commented on until May 17th only through the environmental registry, which this motion does not cover. So just in case anyone thought that's what we're doing, we're not. you can go do that on your own. This is for the bill itself. So the bill proposes changes to the Heritage Act, Electricity Act, Endangered Species Act, Environmental Assessment Act, and Environmental Protection Act, the Mining Act, and proposes a brand new act called the Special Economic Zones Act. It's all under the guise of, supposedly, in my opinion, the Ontario government protecting Ontario from global economic uncertainty by unleashing our economy. By unlocking the potential of Ontario's critical minerals by streamlining approval processes for mining and critical infrastructure projects to achieve outcomes that fuel our economy while also creating jobs and protecting the strategic national mineral supply chain. By supporting the acceleration of provincial permitting and approvals for projects so Ontario can build mines and infrastructure faster while ensuring environmental protections for future generations. Keeping our energy supply safe by limiting foreign participation in Ontario's energy sector. Working to make Ontario the best place in the G7 to invest, create jobs, and do business. If that's all you read about it, it sounds amazing. Right? If you actually read the bill itself, the proposed changes to the acts within it, and most significantly, the new act for special economic zones, the potential negative impacts of this bill far outweigh the potential benefits, in my opinion. The undermining of democratic processes. Basically, the province would be able to identify in any area in Ontario that they choose to and say, your municipal laws and bylaws no longer apply here. And we are going to allow development to occur whether you like it or not. And you have to facilitate because they're going forward. So we would have to help support through the infrastructure that would support that type of development, even if council and the community didn't think it was right for our community. So I am just, I get what they're trying to do and what they say they're trying to do. I totally understand we need better processes, leaner processes. I don't think this is the way to do it. I think this is actually detrimental to our communities and to the province, and that there is a better way to go about this.
Councillor Williams, please.
Thank you, through you. Although I do appreciate, it is similar to the strong merit powers in the province imposing something upon us that we may or may not want. I also appreciate that there's always a balance between environmental preservation or protection and economic growth and stability. My potential concern about supporting this is the signal that it sends to the province that we might not be interested in growing, especially on the heels of a potential major investment project.
Councillor Blackwell, please.
Thank you. Through you, without asking Councillor Prenger to repeat the whole motion, the conversations that I've had with her and that I believe are reflected in the motion is that council is supportive of growth and development and major projects. I think the challenge is this bill strips a lot of existing protections completely away. There's often talk of red tape. Some of that red tape is there for very beneficial reasons. And one of the challenges for me with this bill is there's so little definitions within it. So much of it is subject to what the cabinet of the time feels, as opposed to any kind of limitations, justifications, or clarity for anyone to even kind of understand what that means. The wording includes things like proponents and special economic zones, and those aren't ever defined. So I struggle with that. I think we can certainly amend the motion if desired to say, and to recognize that the province is trying to solve very necessary issues: housing, resource development, investment, strengthening our economy. Those are worthy goals. I support those goals. But I also think they need to be done in partnership and with thought for the future. And so there's some challenges with the way that this bill is perhaps emphasizing expediency over all else. And we know sometimes that when we rush into things, we make mistakes. So those are kind of my thoughts on the bill. I'm happy to hear if perhaps our clerk is able to put the motion, is it on eScribe? It's on eScribe. So if there's a specific change or elements that you'd like to amend, I think there's opportunity for that.
Yep, so that's the question, like if there's amendments, like this is on the floor at this point for debate and passage or defeat one or the other. So if there's any amendments that you would propose to it, this would be the opportune time. And if not, then we will put the motion on the floor as read. All in favor of the motion? And anyone opposed? That's carried. Consent agenda. Items listed are considered routine, unless, of course, and will pass in one motion, except any that you would like withdrawn for future consideration, either this evening or a future date. Any items that any council members would like withdrawn for consideration? Councillor Stewart, please.
Thank you. And through you, hold on, I gotta get this right. 8.1A, no, B, 8.1BB, Statement of Operations, ending on March 31st. So there's Roxanna sitting there. She does a great report. These are great reports. Now, I don't know what time consuming these reports are, but I assume we used to have them on a monthly and we moved them to quarterly. If you read the reports, there's incredible amount of, well, the timing's wrong, the timing's wrong, timing's wrong. I'm not sure if we have the power to be or just a direction. I would have no problem moving these to 6 months. And just to save some time and everything, it might come together because most of the time the footnotes are longer than the report itself. So I'm not sure how the council feels about this, but I'd be quite happy to see everything every 6 months would be fine with me. Thank you.
Can we deal with that now? If that is direction from council, then we would seek a consensus opinion. Is a statement of operations on a biannual base, semi-annual basis appropriate? Questions, Councillor Prenger?
Yeah, I'd just like to know from staff if that would be easier or harder for them before we suggest it or request it.
Director?
Through you. So staff need to review the accounts in detail anyways. It's a good practice to review everything in detail and ask questions and make any kind of adjustments if necessary. So on a quarterly basis, I don't think it's that time consuming to look through. So it's up to council, but staff is fine with the current frequency.
Okay, moving on. Any other reports you'd like withdrawn for consideration? Okay, then we need a mover and seconder that council approve the recommendations contained in the consent agenda dated May 14, 2025. Direct staff to proceed with all necessary administrative actions. Moved by councillors Deputy Mayor Clark and Councillor Williams. All in favor? It's carried. General announcements. Councillor Williams.
Thank you. I just wanted to thank Chandra Chaipathy and the Multicultural Committee for a really great event last night. I don't know if anyone did a head count of how many people came through, but it had to have been, I'd say probably over 1,000, I think. And it was a fantastic event and just really happy to have been able to participate.
Your silly things were quite yummy too. So there we go. Councillor Kavanaugh, please.
Thank you very much. And through the chair, full credit to our municipal staff who had that Davidson Center ice service with no ice, looking great for Multicultural Fest. We also had in the past month the Doug Kennedy Memorial Bulldogs Indoor Beach Volleyball Tournament. I don't know if you can bring the camera in real close. We can do for all the tens of viewers at homes. They can see these wonderful koozies that came out, and on the back it's got a quote for for Doug in the way everyone knows. It just says, "Hey, bud," and it just says DK, which I think is perfect. So that went on, and then the sand came out, and we had the Multicultural Fest. So hats off to our staff for that turnaround time. We have a bunch of events coming up. The biggest one that I'm going to talk about is our Market in the Park is kicking off again, and that starts on the 19th. So I hope to see everyone out for some amazing food and some amazing vendors outdoors with good weather. And the last thing I will say is June 20th, Rock With Your Docs is happening again. Tickets are now available. So I hope everyone sets that night aside. There's 2 tickets available. There's one where you can come have a meal and then see the show. And then there's a reduced price ticket that starts at 8 o'clock. And you come in and you can just see the show. So I hope everyone gets their tickets. I see you there. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor, please.
There is an a Alzheimer's walk taking place on May 24th at the Davidson Center. Starts at 9 a.m. on May 24th. So hope to see you there.
Councillor Pranger, please.
Thank you. Saginaw Valley Conservation Authority is having a tree planting
Saturday.
day on, this Saturday morning, 8 a.m. to noon, and volunteers are welcome to come and help. They ask that you bring gloves, a shovel, your own water, and sturdy footwear. And also, if anyone could carpool, it'd be great. The parking there is very limited, but they're hoping to plant 1,000 seedlings, trees and shrub seedlings.
Where?
I'm sorry, at Stony Island. It was in my head. At Stony Island this Saturday, 8 a.m.
Just off County Road 23. Right on. Councillor Stewart, please.
Thank you. I'll be planting trees on Saturday. I participated in the multicultural. Laurie, you and your staff did a great job. We're going to have to increase the parking lot over in that DC Center. I mean, where I parked, I won't tell you, but it wasn't quite legal. Anyways, what we want to thank people in Tiverton and surrounding area, the Lions had their annual garage sale, and it's just amazing how many things get transported from one house to the other every year. So thank you very much. And the next big event in Tiverton will be Canada Day, and we'd like to thank the staff, and the Tiverton Lions will be putting on quite a day from 11 o'clock to probably 9 o'clock at night. So all the details are on our website. So we're looking forward to that too. So thanks.
Councillor Blackwell, please.
Thank you. Some of my fellow councillors aren't here, so I'm going to take a little bit extra time, but I'll be quick. First, I want to say that May is Community Living Month, and so I think it's a really wonderful time to recognize how inclusive our community is and the opportunities there are for people of all abilities. I also want to acknowledge that Hike for Hospice last weekend raised over $80,000 for hospice, and we're just so grateful for that service here in our community. Additionally, there's multiple events happening over the next couple of days at the Welcome Center. So there's the Welcome Center grand opening. There's going to be a kite show at the pier, and then World Fiddle Day is happening at the Walker House. And lastly, for those who were able to join us at McHappy Day, thank you very much. My son was there and was very excited to see all the people. And they raised over $20,000 to support Ronald McDonald House in London, which is a new record for them. So that was wonderful.
CEO.
Thank you. Yes, a couple of announcements. This weekend, we'll see the opening of the Welcome Center. So it will open for the season, Monday to Saturday from 10 to 5 and Sundays from 12 till 3. The grand opening is Saturday at 10 to 1. There will be music, cupcakes, door prizes. Be there. Also this weekend, there's a kite show at Station Beach with professional kite flyers putting on a color show in the afternoon, 1 to 4. On the infrastructure and development side, Bruce Ave, I don't know if anybody has driven by there, but Bruce Ave street paving was completed today, boulevard paving tomorrow, weather pending, and then Bruce Ave will be open. So we're very hopeful. It's very in the near future. Mother Nature will help to dictate that. We are waiting for a little bit more information from MTO with respect to the signalization, but you'll have seen lots of the infrastructure that is getting ready to help with that work. So we're awaiting on that to see their traffic planning. The other thing I just wanted to note and thank the facilities staff, information technology staff, as well as clerk's department for helping to get this ready. I think this looks wonderful in the council chambers, and I don't know if many hands made light work, but it made it happen a lot faster. So I want to thank the staff that helped put that together.
Right on. Well done. All right, we need a mover and seconder. The council move into closed session pursuant to section 239 of the Municipal Act as amended for the purpose of considering closed session minutes dated April 23, 2025, and a position plan, procedure, criteria, or instruction to be applied to any negotiations carried on or to be carried on by or on behalf of the municipality or local board, beach swimming lessons. Further, that council return to regular open meeting upon completion. Moved by councillors Williams and Kavanaugh. All in favor? Carried.